Hello, everybody. So today I want to talk about Italy. I will also talk about Romania and Belgium. But I was particularly interested in a certain news article about Italy because Italy, after 1990, has not had any nuclear power plants. They do have four nuclear power plants, but they are being decommissioned as we speak. They do have two research reactors. One is 250 kilowatts, and the other is 1,000 kilowatts, or maybe even 2,000 kilowatts. But in any case, they're very small. And the interesting bit is that I was specifically looking for news that Italy was going to order large reactors or was going to order small modular reactors, and so far I've not seen any evidence of that. So this is Italy from above. So let's get rid of the green placeholders so you can see the colors. So the red ones, those are not nuclear reactors, but that's steel industry. I just because this is a map that I use also to show steel industry things, but I repurposed this to also select all the nuclear power plants in Italy. So these purple ones, those are the research reactors. Let me zoom into those so you can see what these are. And it's pretty innocuous building over here. It's called LENA, Laboratorio Energia Nucleare. I don't know, probably academic or something like that. It's not in there altogether. Let's see. Oh no, Applicata. It's probably something like applied sciences or something like that. So this is a university reactor. And then if we zoom out, I hope that you can stomach my zooming. Then we get over here. This is another university. I believe that this is the reactor building, but it could also be any of the other ones. But this one basically looks the most like one. It's very hard to tell because these are tiny reactors. They're basically pool type reactors. It's like a concrete column with water in it, and at the bottom of the concrete column you have your nuclear bits. So nuclear core, you've got your fuel there, your source of neutrons. In this case, it's not really it's not really fuel, because you're not burning it to make energy. You're simply releasing neutrons in order to use those neutrons to do some irradiation tests or something like that. So when we zoom out, we can see 5 placeholders over here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had only 4 operational nuclear reactors in Italy. One was 860 megawatts. That was the largest one. I believe that was a boiling water reactor. And they had 2 other reactors, one boiling water reactor and one pressurized water reactor, relatively small, 150 megawatts. And then there was one Magnox reactor in Italy as well. Now, I believe that this one over here that I'm zooming into, yes, this is correct. These were never finished. So you can see they were building 2 new reactors over here. And somewhere mid-build, they simply said, we're not going to use this nuclear stuff anymore in Italy. So that's basically where they left things. This is not being deconstructed. I believe that this really is the state in which the reactor was, or the reactors were, when they were constructing the facility. So pretty sorry state. So Giorgia Meloni became the new prime minister of Italy. I believe that they have a prime minister. It could also be a president. I don't know. And basically her party was pro-nuclear, and they want to build new nuclear power plants. Now, Italy at this moment, they get most of their power from coal plants and most of their power from gas plants. So if you want to learn more about Italy, I found this a very good starting point. Go to the Wikipedia page on nuclear power in Italy. So here's the news that really piqued my interest. I'm sorry for the sounds my cat is making. So there's a consortium of Romania, Belgium, and Italy, and the middle flag is for the International Atomic Energy Agency. As you can see, Mr. Rossi is also undersigning a document, And the thing that really piqued my interest was that Italy was actually involved with this. So what is this about? This is about basically what they have done is they've created a consortium, and this consortium is going to try to license a lead-cooled fast reactor. And this thing is going to be called the Eagles 300 lead-cooled small modular reactor. And this is basically a cooperation. They call it a consortium, and they're going to develop this 300 megawatt or 350 megawatt small modular reactor together. And the fact that Italy was present was something that really piqued my interest. I will make sure that all the links are available down in the description below. So what is a lead-cooled reactor? This is something I find very interesting. So basically, lead melts around 340 degrees Celsius, if I'm not mistaken, which means that it's ideal to use as a coolant, right? You have a relatively high temperature at which it becomes a liquid, and you have a very high temperature at which it becomes a gas, and I believe that's 1750 degrees Celsius. So these temperatures are never reached, basically, in one of these reactors, simply because the volume of lead that's in this reactor is so big it can absorb a lot of that energy. Or heat in this case. So the interesting bit about this is basically a large bucket, right? You can see a large bucket. The green that you see over here, that is basically the vessel wall. And then you have another basically cylinder, an open cylinder in the middle. And in the middle, there's the reactor core. You can see by these arrows in which way the lead flows. So you've got your reactor core over here. It heats up the lead then flows upward. Now the question is whether this is a reactor with a passive circulation or a reactor with an active circulation. I don't know, because not a lot is shared about this Eagles 300. So at this moment we can basically we can't assume anything. It can be a natural circulation reactor, and it can also be a forced circulation reactor, in which case there will be a pump somewhere in the top around here, and then you will have an impeller inside the reactor, which basically stirs the lead and makes sure that it starts moving into a certain direction. Now the interesting bit over here, is these YouTube I mean, the irony, right? YouTube, you're watching this on YouTube. These YouTube heat exchangers, right? I mean, it's not that dissimilar from a steam generator in a pressurized water system. So you have these tubes, water runs through these tubes get heated up by the liquid lead, and then basically the water turns to steam, and then that goes into this loop with the turbine, with the compressors, and then it's going to create energy or electricity in the generator. A very interesting concept. Now the thing about lead is that it's very cheap, right? It's a very cheap moderator and a very cheap cooling medium to have. The only problem is, or it's not really a problem, the thing that you have to remember is that lead atoms have a pretty high mass, which means that they don't moderate neutrons that well. So this is probably going to be a fast spectrum reactor. That's why they also call it a lead-cooled fast reactor. Obviously, the fast spectrum is in the name. Now, the interesting bit about this Eagles thing, you can see over here, Belgium again, Belgium, Italy, and Romania, is that they basically say that they want to build a test facility somewhere around 2035. It should be operational, and this thing is going to run on MOX fuel, mixed oxide fuel, which basically means that it is made up of uranium-238, and it's made up out of plutonium-239, which was extracted from used fuel. So this is basically a reactor that can reuse plutonium fuel. And that's great. I mean, it's a good practice. I think that we should be using all our plutonium fuel. I don't want people to stick it into bombs. I want people to stick it into reactors in order to make sure that we can have power. So this Eagles reactor, they say that they want to have commercialization in 2039. Now, this basically tells us that they are pretty late in the game. Let's continue, right? If I look for Eagles pictures, you basically don't find anything, that shows you what it might look like. This is the only concept that you can see, which tells you something about the Eagles reactor, but it's not much. I don't know. I don't need the bold star, thank you. So this is weird. This is the only thing that is being told or that is being showed. This is the only conceptual drawing of an Eagles reactor. Well, many people would say, it basically is. It basically is a lead-cooled reactor. So the concept will look much the same. There's not that many differences between this lead-cooled reactor and that lead-cooled reactor. Now, why they are reasonably, they're trailing at this moment is because there's a couple of companies that have already been in the lead cooled fast reactor development game for a couple of years now. So here we have Blykalla. They have this Sealer 55 megawatt reactor that they are developing at this moment. And then over here you have Newcleo, and Newcleo, they have a couple of designs that they are trying to commercialize. They have a 200 megawatt reactor. I believe that this is a 40 megawatt reactor. Let's see, now this is also the same one. This is also the 200 megawatt reactor. But if I go back, what you can see over here is this is like a 30 megawatt reactor. Then over here you have the 200 megawatt reactor, and then you get the 40 megawatt reactor. So this is interesting, by the way. This is remember what I said, that some of these will have pumps. What you see over here in the top, that's a pump, and it basically has an axle that goes into the reactor, and then over here you have an impeller that moves the lead around. It's very, very annoying that this goes the way it does all the time. So what I did was I also asked ChatGPT a couple of questions, right? I can give you the prompts so you can have ChatGPT find out what it can tell you about lead cooled reactors. It's very interesting. There's already an active lead cooled reactor in the world, not just one. Wait a second. The Brest OD300. I don't believe that they actually use it. Let me check that for a second. I'm not sure. Was it ever built? Yes, it was built. Oh no, it's under construction since 2021. Well, it's a Russian one, so given the fact that they are at war with Ukraine and with the rest of the world at this moment, this means that they basically, they probably have difficulty finishing it at this moment. But I do believe that they have a lot of experience with lead bismuth cooled reactors in submarines. So that's that. So very interesting development. I really want to see, what these lead cooled reactors are made of, whether they can compete in the commercial space. I don't know, honestly. I feel entirely comfortable telling you that I don't know whether it will be competitive or not. But it's an interesting concept, and I believe that, these concepts should be pursued just to figure out whether we can do them commercially or not. And just to have options. We need options at this moment. There's no doubt about that. In any case, I would like to thank you all for sticking with me. I've been offline for more than half a year right now, partly to do with the lobby activities that I had to do in the Netherlands, partly to do with some, with depression, which is something I have to cope with every year, and also partly to do with the fact that I really had a moment, a crisis of faith, so to call, faith between asterisks, because I saw how much EDF was asking, or basically what the construction cost was going to be for Sizewell C. And this was something that was really, I really wasn't expecting it to be that high. I mean, 52 billion euros. What was it, 39 or 41 billion pounds? I mean, that's just too much. And I honestly, I can't defend them asking that much money while there are, how many, six units have been completed in the world, or are four units? No, 4 units have been completed. We have Taishan, and we have Flamanville and Olkiluoto, and Hinkley Point C is still under construction, which is, I mean, it would be madness if we would say yes to these kinds of construction projects, and there wouldn't be any learning involved. So Sizewell C really hit me hard in that regard. In any case, if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, share this video if you learned anything and if you think that it was informational, and like the video, obviously. Thank you all for watching, and may the strong force be with you. Bye-bye.